Yeah, and and it's just like a huge production. It's like not only is this one rapper dissing you, but he's got like 60 dancers behind him that are participating in dissing you. And like it's just like it's sad. The whole thing is sad that this is where this is what happens when you just kind of, granted, religious traditions have like really screwed up in big ways. But when you just take morality and you kind of throw it out and you kind of raise like individual pleasure to like the highest principle. This is where it goes to like
Yeah.
music becomes degraded, art becomes degraded. We lose touch with what it means to have class, to be kind even, the
Yeah.
value in these very fundamental kind of principles. So, any case, I think this is a really, when I read this from Brad Pitt, it sounds to me like it's not only honest, but it's really insightful. Like he's gone there, he's felt it, and he was
Mhm.
able to kind of share it. I kind of went to the top of material, at least earthly kind of like material level of success. And it was, I felt impotent there. I felt isolated. I felt desperate. I felt lonely. We're going to see Subari Mooney, right? We read half the story yesterday, Raghunath. We'll do the
Oh,
second.
I'm so bummed. That's a great
No, there's
story.
still plenty left. There's still plenty
Okay.
left.
And you know what? That's one of my favorite places in Vrindavan to go. Mara, remind me
Oh, yeah.
next year. We should go to Subari Muni's ashram. It's such a
Sure.
nice, cool place. All the followers of Subari Muni, you can still go to these places. Isn't that incredible?
It's incredible.
It's like, it's not like you go to one holy place in India. Every story you read, there's a holy place where you can go to that place.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And he'll share a statement about the nature of material happiness that is something for us to all take away and always keep in mind, something that we should carry with us. So we'll get there.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Live from Alachua, Florida, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1550,
1563.
1563. It is Tuesday, March 25th. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody here in the morning. We're finally steady with our program. 7 o'clock every morning. We're doing it this week. And I'm live here in Alachua with all my kids. And it's just so nice to be in this holy place. And it's holy place. Places become holy by the quality of the people that live in these places. And there's so many sweet devotees that have somehow come
Alachua.
here strangely to northern Florida. And very special. And we just went hanging out yesterday with a bunch of my kids' friends, just playing soccer and football and jujitsu, and they have this huge rec area, like with the
Recreation area.
the indoor volleyball and a giant gym, but
Is
outdoor
that why you went down there, Raghunath?
outdoor they have a skate park, and there's just like kids playing around, mothers walking their little devotee children. You just see devotees are in the periphery. You're in the supermarket. There's some guy chanting japa. There's someone checking you out. Haribo. It's just like, And then I got my hair cut at the barber, and it wasn't even like a devotee barbershop, although there is a devotee barbershop. And this is sort of like a urban black African American barber shop, but I go there when I come down here. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I know your son. I went to played soccer with him." I was like, "This is crazy." There's just devotees are everywhere, and it's nice. Then I ran into Vishwambar. He walked by.
Okay.
He's just chanting japa. It is like the kirtan heroes of the world have come to Alachua, and so I think we're going to have a kirtan in the park. And then Mukunda Kishore and his wife and young daughters are coming out to
What are they
Florida.
doing out there?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but they may be
Yeah.
relocating to the East Coast.
Wow.
And so we're having them over for dinner. Yeah.
Okay, Raghunath. It
So
suits
that's
your
that.
social inclinations, I think. There, it's like
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
very
family
social.
thing.
I'm very social.
So you're very social, but also just like in the family context, that you really appreciate that type of social engagement,
I do.
and it all plays out there.
Yeah. Yeah. But Kaustubha, there are some announcements, important announcements we want to make.
You
Because
are.
I'm heading to Gothenburg, Sweden next week, next Wednesday. And there's a big yoga festival there called the Yoga Games. I'm going to be teaching there. And then that following Monday, the 7th, I'm doing an in-store book signing. I'm also doing one in Berlin on the 9th. I'm doing a yoga class and a book signing. Also one in Leipzig on the 11th. Also one in Vienna on the 12th. And also one in
Okay.
Cologne on the 15th and Amsterdam on the 16th. And yes, so I hope I see some people at some of the shows. The Shelter, 30 years of mantra, the mantra record. If you've heard of the mantra record, please let me know on the message board. And so some of those are yoga classes, some of those are book signings. I'll have some books with me, or you can, if you have a book, I'm going to give a little Q&A about the book at those places as well.
All right.
Yeah, Mara, any announcements from you?
Yeah. Have you checked out our Sage community platform? If
Yes, I
wisdom
have.
of
Oh,
if
you're not
wisdom of the
talking to me
sages has been
personally. You're
helpful in
just
your
making an
life,
announcement. Go.
and you if wisdom of the sages has been helpful in your life and you'd like to contribute to our work, please log on to wisdomofthesages.com, become a supporting member of the Sage community platform. For a minimum $5 monthly contribution or a maximum donation of whatever your heart desires, you get access to a wide range of live and archived classes, our community chat, merchandise, retreat registrations, and much, much more. So log on to wisdomofthesages.com and join today.
I got tons of stuff to start sharing on the Sage Community platform.
All those classes from Rishikesh?
I classes from Rishikesh, Q&As from Rishikesh, the whole course I did
Oh,
in
wow.
the Eco Village, Mayapur, all the classes we had in
Upload it,
Mayapur.
man.
I know.
Yeah.
Look at you.
So there's gonna
Upload it, man. What's it-
Lots of new stuff dropping from Kaustubha.
And maybe you ought to do a little Sweet Baby Krishna. Or get that.
You know what? I have a strong desire to do Sweet Baby Krishna. Is not going to happen though.
Okay.
Only because it's like I'm traveling this whole week, and
Yeah.
then I got like 2 days off before I get on a plane.
Whatever you're doing, you can broadcast. That's the thing. Like if you're doing that kirtan thing, you broadcast it.
Okay. Hope maybe I'll see Nitai Lieberman. Some of my.
Oh, Nitai Lieberman. We haven't seen him in a while.
I'm sure he's poking around here.
Yeah, find him.
Okay.
Also, we have our Wisdom of the Sages retreat here at Super Soul Farm Memorial Day weekend. And Lori Pag and Raghu are doing their Flow, Fly, and Chant July 18th to 20th here at Super Soul Farm.
And
also.
this Friday morning, I will be speaking at Harvard
Harvard.
University. Harvard University.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I shoed you in for that. Okay, good. All right. So we have a nugget here today. I'm going to read
yeah.
it from
Who's it
read it from my phone. Any other announcements before I continue on?
That's all I got.
Alrighty. This
Harvard
is from
University.
Brad Pitt. You might have heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
In an interview after achieving fame.
Okay.
This is good.
They weren't interviewing him before he achieved fame.
They're like, why are you so good looking?
Maybe.
Okay. He says, I know all these things are supposed to seem important to us. You know, like the car, the condo. He's already famous. He's living in a condo. Come on, buy a house. The car, the condo, our version of success. But if that's the case, why is the general feeling out there reflecting more impotence and isolation and desperation and loneliness? You know, I think this is a common result when people get their material desires fulfilled. Often there is like, hey, I've been hoping for this stuff my whole life. I've never had a new car. Now I got a new car. And there is some like perks. It's not like you don't get a perk when you get your life together materially, but it's not what it's cracked up to be. you expect to be at this new level of now everything's great, when in fact, to maintain that status often there's so much anxiety involved. Like, I got to make sure I don't lose this now. Now that I have this, I don't want to lose this and go back to the old apartment, the old car, the old, etc. I found in my puny climb to material fame in my music, I found that it was okay, I'm getting more validation in the material world. I can now play a gig in Schweinfurt, Berlin, and have 500 people show up and sing along, or you know, um, Tokyo or Milan, and have a show where people know my words. But I felt like I don't feel like I'm a better person because of that. I just feel like I've maybe tricked some people into thinking I was cooler than I actually am. I always felt like I don't, because I would, when I was younger, especially, no, now too, but when I was younger, I would read those books of the yogis, of the great sages who've reached enlightenment, and I would like get inspired by their teachings, and I would sort of somehow incorporate them into my lyrics. The ideas of karma and transcendence and material attachments, and I would, whatever I understood from that, I would write it into like songs. But I would always be like, okay, I've tricked them into thinking I'm that, but I'm not that. That's what I want to get. And no matter how much validation I get, I still don't have that unless I have that. If you don't change, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's that old thing. And so I felt like, yeah, I've actually, if I really want some next level feeling of wholeness, connection, depth, wisdom, I actually have to change who I am and not just convince people that I'm cool or special. And you hear people like, I just mentioned this the other day, like Jim Carrey said things like this. What's the other guy? I said Mork for Mork has done that.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. They made these very bold statements about the dissatisfaction with material success and how, and especially if that's what you were pining for your entire life, it must be heartbreaking. Like, I thought this was going to give me everything. And unless you have a spiritual answer, you must feel like, well, now what am I supposed to do? I checked all the boxes. I got all that I was supposed to get. Now what? I've climbed this ladder. What do you think?
Yeah, the thing that struck me, because of course, in one sense, it's not the world's most profound thing he's saying, you know, but the words that he chose to describe what I assume he's feeling, having kind of reached, like, not only did he achieve what actors seek to achieve, like, okay, your A-list, the
Right.
money that you make is just ridiculously, high. The fame that you've achieved is like the highest.
Right.
You're admired by women, for just for your looks and for your fame.
Yeah, but for your fame, you don't even have to be good looking. You could actually be a little not good looking and
But
still be
he's
like, girls will think
he's
you're.
got that. He's got both.
He's got both, yeah.
So really, what men fantasize about, like, oh, I have such a hard time just finding like one girl to be interested in me, and he's got it, and for him, it's practically unlimited. And yet, the words that he chooses to describe his feelings, impotence, right? I'm going to have such power and influence when I achieve that fame. No. I feel like, actually, I thought I would be able, once I have that fame, I can just manage the world in such a way where I'm always happy. I'll have the power to create the circumstances under which I'll always be feeling good and excited and thrilled and loved. I'll be loved. No. I feel isolation. He feels impetus. I feel isolation. Nobody kind of understands the world I'm living in. People are really trying to suck from me some happiness. They want to be famous because they're next to me. They want some of my money. They want me to give them a break somehow. Like, the people that are surrounding me aren't giving me the love that I'm really looking for. They're trying to take something from me, and it's like a hassle, you know?
That's a nice realization too. Because you're not sure why they like me.
Yeah.
Because you don't even necessarily like yourself. If you're not living with
Right.
integrity, you don't necessarily love yourself. And all of a sudden now you have a lot of people who are very interested in, even if they act very friendly, what is their motive behind it? Will I give them some perk to their reputation? Like, I'm friends with Brad.
Right.
Or do they want something from me? Do they want me to give them a break? That's a very good one too. Another thing, Kaustubha, I was thinking, imagine if you're hungry all the time, and all of a sudden you have one of those salad bars where they have spaghetti and Chinese food. It's like everything you could possibly eat.
It's like when you go into those Korean bodega kind of setups. It's
Yeah, like in New York,
it's like, I can't eat any of this, but if I could, this would be great.
Well, it's interesting because you think, well, I've never had a girlfriend, or I've had, a couple girlfriends, and, it was now every beautiful model-like woman thinks you're attractive. And in the mind, we'll think, well, that's a great thing, isn't it? Everyone
My
thinks I'm
happiness is
attractive.
guaranteed.
No, it's overwhelming. First of all, since when does indulgence in your senses? People got to get this through their mind, especially all these people who are pushing the sensual freedom through indulgence of the senses. It's so short-sighted. Indulge your senses if you really want to be happy in the world. Oh yeah, show me where that's paid off.
Right.
Show me where that really works. Unlimited. I want amorous pastimes with multiple partners. I want an open marriage, open relationships, because then no more restriction of the senses. I want to feel real freedom and let all my desires go. Good luck with that. It's got like a 0% success for happiness.
Right.
Now the mind will say it's happy. You can enjoy everything. But where in actuality is there actually happiness? When have you gone to one of those salad bars or Korean bodegas where you can eat whatever you want, and you actually eat whatever you want, and you walk away from, now I'm completely satisfied? No.
Well, have you ever had the lo mein?
The lo mein is good. But you mixed a lo mein with,
the Jell-O thing
pesto
with the whipped cream
noodles,
on
and then
top.
you mix it with, whatever you're mixing with. You're just like got a stomach ache. And this is material indulgence. And that's why, and I'm not saying it doesn't give you some pleasure. It does. But it's always a pleasure with this mantra afterwards. What was I thinking? Why did I eat all that?
Yeah. So in any case, he's got impotence, isolation. You're hiding in that. They have those like, whenever they're filming something, they have those kind of trailers, and they just kind of hide in their trailer, and they come out to shoot, and then they hide back in it again, and then they try to disappear at the end of the day. He says desperation and loneliness. It's like.
Isn't it interesting, those words?
Those are such interesting words that he chooses, right?
Like it seems like it should be the opposite. It seems like you should be, now you're fulfilled. Now people care about you. Now people are giving you validation. They want to be your friend. No, I feel more isolated.
You know what struck me recently, Raghunath?
Tell me.
Because it just comes up in the social media reels left and right.
Well, this is going to tell me more about what you search for
than
what it's going to say.
And then it just started more coming, But like,
what comes up in your
the Super
social
Bowl
media
halftime
reels?
show is like considered like the biggest thing. It's like it's the biggest platform that like an entertainer can perform on practically.
Yeah.
Millions and millions and millions of people are watching it. It's considered, once you've achieved that, you're on that super A-list status.
Yeah. Tell me.
And so this year, it was like this rapper. I don't mean to talk in with that, but I'm saying, my God, if this is the pinnacle of musical like achievement, what it's like.
I love when we get to Kaustubha's musical critique. This comes out occasionally on the podcast when he starts to critique various music genres.
This is the real thing. Is that his featured song and his huge hit that he won Grammys for and everything is just dissing another rapper. And it's
like
really,
it's like Roxanne's Revenge.
It's worse than it's gone much lower than that. Then it was like kind of this petty stuff like, I rap better than you kind of thing.
Right.
Now it's like you're a pedophile. You're
Oh,
this,
really?
you're that. It's just like it's really cruel. And everybody's celebrating and like, yeah, like that was the guy that he was probably doing the Super Bowl like a couple years ago, and everyone
Really?
was like cheering him like, you're the greatest. You're the center of all of our adoration. And now there's another rapper that's just tearing him down,
Oh, really? Dissing him.
dissing him.
Oh, see,
And,
you're very,
and
very caught up with this. How do you remain such a sadhu, yet somehow you know the cutting
I'm
edge of
trying
what's
to
happening in the
analyze it. I'm
material
trying to
world?
analyze it through the eyes of the Shastra,
So
Raghunath.
you're saying that you just watch modern cultural phenomenon
It comes at me.
just to dig out the spiritual essence of it all.
It
That's why
comes.
you indulge in it.
It
I
comes.
understand now.
That's why you indulge endlessly in it.
That's why you read People magazine. I get it.
But and it was like the diss was it was just like this massive disrespect to this person. Um, Even to the anyway, I won't even go into but it was just like it was really cruel. Like even like his ex-girlfriends were taking part in it. Like that rapper had got
Oh,
his
really?
ex-girlfriends and gotten them involved in it, and they're all famous too.
Oh, really?
So it's just like, I'm dissing you. Your ex-girlfriends are dissing you. The entire Super Bowl is dissing you. The whole world is dissing you. And we're just all
How
celebrating.
how hurtful is that?
It's to think, first of all, let's put ourselves in the shoes of that other rapper who's achieved that highest level of fame. Now it's all working against him. Now he's thinking, if only I could just disappear, if only I were a person who wasn't being publicly humiliated, and everybody's looking, the whole world's looking at me like, oh, now you're down on the bottom. You were up at the top before, but now everybody hates you.
Well, that's another interesting thing with the phenomenon of success. And by the way, me and Kaustubha are not off on squirrels today. This ties right into the Srimad Bhagavatam, but he's really bringing it down to earth that we can relate to, which is Super Bowl halftime shows.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But that brings us back to the second reason why material success won't give you what you want. And the first one is it's not cracked up to what we thought it'd be. And the second one is, even if you get everything, every box checked, I'm at the Super Bowl halftime show, right? The whole world and this entire, first of all, the entire stadium. Like right now, this puny little stadium of 100 people on Zoom are like, Raghunath, we're here for you. I'm thinking how big I am, but that's not even that big. Then there's the thousands of people listening to when they download it. They're talking about the Super Bowl. You got like 75,000 people watching live, and then you got the Super Bowl Zoomers. Like the whole world is watching the Super Bowl, and then it gets taken away from them and they get mocked. So this is another thing with material success. You have it and sometimes it can get taken away from you. And imagine that pain. And someone will say, well, better to have it and then have it gone than have to never have had it. I'm not so sure if that's true. I'm not so sure if that's true, especially in this case, where not only is it getting taken away from him and he'll be remembered as a legend, he's getting like spit upon by the new generation.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like a huge production. It's like not only is this one rapper dissing you, but he's got like 60 dancers behind him that are participating in dissing you. And like it's just like it's sad. The whole thing is sad that this is where this is what happens when you just kind of granted, religious traditions have like really screwed up in big ways. But when you just take morality and you kind of throw it out and you kind of raise like individual pleasure to like the highest principle. This is where it goes to like music becomes degraded, art becomes degraded. We lose touch with what it means to have class, to be kind even, the value in these very fundamental kind of principles. So, any case, I think this is a really, when I read this from Brad Pitt, it sounds to me like it's not only honest, but it's really insightful. Like he's gone there, he's felt it, and he was able to kind of share it. I kind of went to the top of material, at least earthly kind of like material level of success. And it was, I felt impotent there. I felt isolated. I felt desperate. I felt lonely. We're going to see Śaubharī Muni, right? We read half the story yesterday, Raghunath. We'll do this.
Oh, I'm so bummed. That's a great
Well, there's
story.
still plenty left. There's still plenty
Okay.
left.
And you know what? That's one of my favorite places in Vrindavan to go. Mara, remind me
Oh, yeah.
next year. We should go to Subari Muni's ashram. It's such a
Sure.
nice, cool place. All the followers of Subari Muni, you can still go to these places. Isn't that incredible?
It's incredible.
It's like, it's not like you go to one holy place in India. Every story you read, there's a holy place where you can go to that place.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And he'll share a statement about the nature of material happiness that is something for us to all take away and always keep in mind, something that we should carry with us. So we'll get there. Want to get into it?
Alrighty. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before he cited the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamosloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 6, text 47, I think.
I think we're on
45.
45.
45, okay. All right, Kaustubha, catch me up.
Yeah,
And those who are new to this podcast or missed the last couple days, we're in a new chapter. And Śaubharī Muni, famous sage you hear about in the Krishna Lila as well. And it's going to cross over and tell his backstory.
There's quite a few chapters. I think we've done it a couple chapters back. We're doing it in this chapter, next chapter as well. We're getting a long list of dynasties going down, and then it just pops up and opens up into a story occasionally. They focus in on one of those names. And so the name that we're focused in here on is Subari Muni or Subari Rishi. And it opens up with us. First, we get this understanding he is not an ordinary person. He's a powerful mystic because he's capable of meditating under the water. Okay, that's pretty solid. If you can do that, that's impressive.
I have a tough time without my ears hurting when I go underwater. What to speak of sitting there and controlling your breath. It's just like this Wim Hof thing where you can actually swim under ice for a while. Like Wim Hof like swims under. First of all, just to take a cold plunge is like I did a polar bear, bathing on New Year's Eve or something like that. No. Wim Hof swimming under the ice, surfacing under in another ice hole. So this is another type of like control of your breath where you can actually go underwater and slow your heartbeat down so much that it feels like nothing. And the temperature of the water is not bothering you either. You're just sitting in the water. And it's a way to go into isolation where the entire world is not bothering you because you can't see anything. You're just sitting. It's pretty incredible, actually. You're not bothered by the world. You control your breath, and you're just focusing on the Supreme.
Well, I shared yesterday that Yogi True told me that he saw someone do this before. Stay under there for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing.
It's
It's one of those weird Indian things like mind reading and, levitation.
But in order to do that, in order to achieve that ability, we can understand it would require intense self-discipline, right? Intense practice, intense self-discipline to be able to achieve that.
Yeah.
And so so we can just assume right off the bat that Subari was a very self-controlled person, but perhaps his focus wasn't in the right area, that his austerity and the determination in his practice was admirable, but maybe it was just a little bit misdirected. So he had this power to meditate. If he would have just taken that and focused it just right on the root of all existence, right on Krishna, he could have avoided this whole, ups and downs that he goes through. And it's interesting to hear about his ups and downs. So he's under the water. You think, my God, he's almost like invulnerable, right? It's like the power that he has. But what becomes revealed is no. He's our relative ideas of what's powerful and not. It's just that it is relative. He seems incredibly self-controlled, and then we see he's not self-controlled at all. He sees two fish engaged sexually. He went down there to just get away from the whole world of distraction, right? And he sees two fish. It's hilarious in one sense.
Well, it's hilarious because
ironic.
this has happened to me. This has
With the
happened to
fish?
me. I remember
What's
just
the-
being a brahmachari in Vrindavan, and when you're a brahmachari, you're like a celibate monk,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like you're in your 20s, you're trying to be a monk, and I remember being in a holy place, and then I'm walking out of the Radharaman temple, and I like watched two monkeys having sex. I was just like, just to get that picture in your mind.
Right.
And you're trying to like not think of sex, and here's two monkeys having sex like right in front of you. It's just like, oh, come on, monkeys! You know how hard I'm working on this.
So
So I can
anyway.
understand. You see two fish. I don't think like monkeys are very human-like, but two fish that really threw him off the trail.
But what it shows is that although he was incredibly self-controlled, he hadn't mastered his desires that were within, right?
Okay.
So somehow that he hadn't overcome those deepest material desires,
Yeah.
and in a sense, Krishna showed him, boom. You think you've conquered the material entity, Daivi Hesha Gunamaya Mama Maya Dharajya. No. You think you're powerful and you've controlled it all. You can be bewildered in a moment, in the easiest, in the simplest way. And Krishna just sends a little bit of material energy his way, and it goes right through his eyes, deep into his heart, and it stimulates that desire again. The bhakti yogis, they're like, I'm weak, and I depend on Krishna. Whereas like other types of yogis, it can be that they begin to feel, I'm strong, I am powerful, I am the master, I've mastered my senses, I've mastered my desires, I've analyzed them, I've broke them. No.
So what's the difference? Because here we have these tyagis, these people practicing tyaga or renunciation, where they're giving up A, B, C, and D to get some internal focus and meditation, but then something happens and they fall down. They fall down from their very high position. But people practicing bhakti also fall down. So
They may.
explain the difference.
Well, the stalwarts don't, but the practitioners may. But again, the practitioner is not. He's not. My point is that he's not under the illusion that I'm so powerful. He's coming from the platform. I'm weak and I need shelter.
There you go.
There you go.
Whereas, when you start attaining some siddhi, some perfection, some power, you start gaining followers. Then all of a sudden, that can make you think, "Yeah, I've got my act together." That the little bit of arrogance, and of course, in Subari Muni's situation, he offended a devotee.
He did. That was Garuda.
Did we get to that point yet in the story?
I think it's only in the commentaries that's mentioned. It's not mentioned in the Bhagavatam itself.
Oh, okay. Really?
I don't believe so.
Well, it's mentioned
We'll see.
in the 10th canto.
Well, okay. Mentioned there. But in any case, my point is Krishna says this material energy, it's my energy and it's very difficult to overcome. But one who surrendered unto me, they can easily cross beyond it. And so even if we have some bumps, some ups and downs, for the devotee, it's not the end of the world if they have some setback, because it just becomes another part of their surrender. Like, it just helps me understand all the more how much I need to take shelter. Whereas for this kind of mystic yogi, it's like my power, I've lost all my power. It's gone, So he sees these two fish and it just disturbs his mind, and he comes out and he says, I want a woman. It's like, I will find happiness in the embrace of a woman. This is what I need. I tried to repress it, it came back up. I'm not replacing it with anything else. There was no happiness in my mystic yoga that was stronger than this desire that's deep within me. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to fulfill it. And he had this incredible mystic power that even though he was like old and wrinkled, he was able to transform his body into like an incredibly celestial, beautiful man.
This is one of the classic Bhagavad Gita's. Just one of the senses, one of the wandering senses, can drag one down, and it happens with, when you look at the life of addicts, it's very, very visible. You could say, oh yeah, and I wasn't drinking for so many years, and then I just looked at them drinking, and they looked like they were enjoying, and I thought, maybe this time it'll be different. People do it with food, people do it with sex, people do it with spending, but just one of the wandering senses. And for him, it was seeing that the fish, of all things, like, oh, look, the sexy fish, whatever it was, it dragged him into that state where this will make me happy.
So now he's in a beautiful body, and he approaches a king, and says, you have 50 beautiful daughters. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm a great, powerful sage. I'm a worthy husband to one of your daughters. Would you give me one of your daughters for a wife? And the king says, I'm not like that. Like, I know that's kind of a common thing in the Bhagavatam and in the Purana.
Just giving your daughters away.
But he says, my daughters, they'll make up their own mind. And he said, okay, maybe that's when he transformed himself into that
Well,
body.
you know what happens? This is explained in the Krishna book, that he came as an old man, and he said, "I'd like to take in." And
Then he
the
switched
king had so many daughters, and he said, and the king didn't want to offend the sage, and so he said, "Well, how about this one? You can take all my daughters if you want, but I want my daughter to choose you. So why don't I just introduce you to them?" And then the king's thinking, they're not going to choose this guy at all. But in fact, he changed his body at the 11th hour.
And then they're fighting over him.
Beautiful. And they were all like, we all choose you.
Yeah. And so that's where we're at now. The previous verse said that these sisters, they gave up their sisterly relationship and they quarreled among themselves, each one contending, this man is just suitable for me and not for you. So there's a hint there that on one hand, my God, I have 50 beautiful girls fighting over me. But there's another hint here too, that like life is about to get complicated for Subari Mooney. So that's where we left off, that all the daughters are having this disagreement about, no, I'm just right for him. No, I'm just right for him.
There's all these videos. I don't know why they're coming up on my thing right now. But for some reason, I get all these people criticizing Mormonism. Okay. And they're like, here's what I believed when I was a Mormon, and this is what I believed, and here's what the Mormon preachers do not tell you. And they're digging into Brigham Young and Adam Smith, and like, he had so many wives. They make it sound like that is a great opulence to have so many wives. Are you kidding? Come on, I can't tell my story if you're holding that squirrel up.
That's the point. Okay. All right, text 45 and 46.
All right.
Do you have more to say about that? Or?
Well, I thought you were going to jump. I'm just saying, to take care of, to have one partner in this world, it's exhausting. Because you got to enter into their minds, see how they're feeling, stuff like that, and then vice versa. Mare has to deal with me. I'm finally seeing Mare there. She's alone back at the farm, and I'm thinking she must be in so much peace right now. The whole household must be so peaceful. Like I was like, I bet you really needed that day of silence without me. So it's like one person in your life. You really want 16, Adam Smith or John Smith had so many wives, Brigham Young had so many wives. You think that's an opulence? It's especially back then, it's like you're just surviving. You're just surviving back then. You're hiking to Utah, trying to like.
Okay, we got to read a verse here. We've only got like 12 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
I know that's an interesting.
We didn't even get to a verse yet. Okay. Text 45 and 46. Because Subari Mooney was expert in chanting mantras perfectly, his severe austerities resulted in an opulent home with garments, ornaments, properly dressed and decorated maidservants and manservants. I want a manservant. And varieties of parks with clear water, lakes, and gardens. In the gardens, fragrant with varieties of flowers, birds chirped and bees hummed. This is peculiar. Surrounded by professional singers. He just manifested this stuff mystically.
Through mantra.
I know, but
Yeah.
do these things not exist? Are
What do
they
you
all
mean?
like droids? Like, are they actual? He manifested living beings?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Subari Mooney's home was amply provided with valuable beds, seats, ornaments, and arrangements for bathing. And there were varieties of sandalwood creams, flower garlands, and palatable dishes. Thus, surrounded by opulent paraphernalia, the Mooney engaged in family affairs with numerous wives. My question is, are they real things?
There's no indication that they're not. I don't know why you need to take into the sci-fi, direction. Whether they existed before and he called them to that
okay.
place, or
Yeah.
whether they didn't and he somehow he was in touch with the laws of material energy and he was able
Okay.
to manifest this
I'm gonna have to
through mantra.
lean into mystical things I can't understand. I'm okay to go there too.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be able to understand everything. That's okay.
But I don't know why you're fixating on that. Like, are they droids or something like that?
Well, because all of a sudden these people are now in their life.
Yeah.
Like, where do they come from? Are they
Well, where do
are they
any of
real
us come
people?
from?
Huh?
Where do any of us come from? We're all going through cycles of experience.
I get it. I get it. I can understand. There's things I can't understand.
Alright.
That I can understand. 47. Mandata, the king of the entire world,
This is
consisting
the
of the seven.
Father of all the daughters, by the way.
Yeah. Consisting of the 7 islands. That's all the dweeps. Was struck with
continents.
wonder when he saw the household opulence of Subari Mooney. Thus, he gave up his false prestige in his position as emperor of the world.
So he's probably wondering, how's this guy going to take care of all my daughters? And he's like, my goodness, he's giving them greater opulence than I have as the king of the earth.
Right. He's like, this guy's got it together. These are not ordinary kings, by the way. This is not like Louis the 14th. This is like mystical divine kings. In this way, Subari Mooney enjoyed sense gratification in the material world.
Now, hold
But
it
he
one
was-
second, Rogan.
Did I miss what?
No, this is good. It's just that what he's going to say right here, this is a game changer. This is an insight into life that should, that we can all keep with us, that
Okay.
explains the nature of material enjoyment with a very simple but very potent metaphor.
I think, who needs a game changer today? We got one for you. Some of us are hungry for a game changer. And
Okay.
the Bhagavatam sometimes just delivers it. In this way, Subari Mooney enjoyed sense gratification in the
I'm
material
better than any of us
world.
ever have,
Yeah,
right?
if you think, oh, you don't know my life, Kaustubha, I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, well, Subari Mooney enjoyed it more. You've had good meals, Subari Mooney's better. Beautiful, intimate relationships, unlimited, with prettier men and women.
Okay.
Our type of material enjoyment is so minimal, isn't it? It's minimal.
Pitiful.
It's pitiful.
It's mostly we watch movies about other people doing it and
Yeah,
fantasize about
that's it. That's our idea of great enjoyment, is like we watch a movie. It's not even like theater. It's not, we listen to music on Spotify. It's not even like we're at a live concert. Okay. In this way, Subari Mooney enjoyed sense gratification in the material world, but he was not at all satisfied. Just as fire never ceases blazing if constantly supplied with drops of fat.
Yeah.
It's like, we didn't learn our lesson from Mick Jagger when he says,
I can't get no.
I can't get no satisfaction. When he said that song, when that song came out, the whole world should have been like, okay, I get it. This guy's not satisfied. This guy's surrounded by beautiful women, gets to go all over the world. He's worshipped by everyone, and he's not satisfied. Let's try another path. Let's
All right.
pivot. Let's
Game
go
over.
somewhere else.
Let's
But no, we
pivot.
didn't pick up on that clue. What do we need to get hit over the head with something?
All right. Yeah. So
When Bono said, "I still haven't found what I'm looking for." Come on, people. What more? Does God have to send any more messengers to us?
all right. Right. So Subari, he gets this, that I've kind of amped up the sense gratification. If the strategy is that I'll satisfy myself through material sense gratification, I've amped it up to a very high level.
I
And what I realize now is I could keep amping it up. I could bring on another 50 beautiful women and more palaces and more money and more wealth. And it's rather than satisfy it, no, it's like putting fuel into it. It keeps it burning more.
drops of fat and makes the desires blaze higher.
Higher still. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's
that's
such a
the
trick.
principle. That's
It's such a
the
trick.
principle. That's the principle.
And-
So you're
and we
never going to
forget
become
about the-
satisfied this way.
And we forget about the obvious things, like even the healthy things, even the good things in material life. I'm not talking about with my crew. We got all these beautiful ladies. And we're out in a town and we're drinking. I'm not even talking about that. About the wholesome, healthy things, like I have a wonderful family. They're a good family. They're good people. Then you have families that die, or then you get families that you get into some arguments, and or sometimes you lose some wealth, or just like the practical sense gratification things in the material world that are supposed to deliver happiness, sometimes causes great distress, and it comes from some type of material loss. Okay.
So that's, I think, we can wrap up on this message and we can come back.
I feel like going for another hour.
Look at you, you're all ripped up. But this is a fundamental principle for Bhakti Yogi to understand.
Mhm.
If you can just have faith in this idea, maybe I haven't achieved Brad Pitt status,
You?
you
You're right
think I
there.
have?
You're close. You're close to. Are you kidding? Come on. You gave that Rishikesh festival every night with whatever,
if we
40
can-
people a day. That was
if we
like
can learn
practically
from-
Brad
from-
Pitt.
If we can learn from Brad's testimony, if we can learn from Mick and Bono's testimony, if we can learn from Śaubharī Muni's testimony.
Ray Capo's testimony.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. That
Filling up the Camden underworld, selling that out.
that we should pivot. We should pivot. Right now we should pivot from the idea that my happiness lies just from a few adjustments being made in the material energy. No. Even if I adjusted it to the max, even if I turned the dial, if I was capable of turning the dial to 10 or 11, I'm still not going to be satisfied, and I'm going to feel impotent, and I'm going to feel isolated, I'm going to feel desperate, I'm going to feel lonely, because we haven't gone to the heart of the issue. The Bhagavatam begins with the sages at Naimisharanya. They're all gathered there, and they turn to Sutta Goswami, and they say, what leads to Atma Supersidity? What leads to complete satisfaction of the self? And they don't even bring up the idea of, they kind of just turn it to him. And he says, it's bhakti. It's only divine love that's poured like water poured to the root, divine love that's offered to God. And when that love is unmotivated, when there's no selfish motive involved, only there do you get Atma Supersidity, complete satisfaction in the self. That's the formula. You have to pivot. It may feel counterintuitive, but it'll feel very natural once we actually begin to inquire into it and practice it. It becomes very yeah. How many testimonies do I need of people who've climbed to the top to realize there's nothing up there once you get up there?
Oh, there's stuff up there. Oh, you don't know, Kaustubha.
All right.
Oh, Kaustubha.
All right, Margie, you got any?
I like this
All right.
whole thing. Kaustubha's practically Brad Pitt up there at the Rishikesh Yoga Festival. Oh, that's funny.
You ready
I don't
for
know
some
what I don't know
takeaways?
exactly what you meant by that, but
don't know
I'll just
either.
let it go. Margie,
All right.
Hey, Mara, how are
Yes.
you? How are you doing?
Good.
What's it like in isolation there in the farm?
Peaceful.
It's peaceful, isn't it?
man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my apartment is like so quiet. I go to Rishikesh, which is where yogis go to find peace, And there's like discotheques, like blaring music,
Oh,
like
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
traffic and honking and people on rafts yelling. And I come to New York City.
People on rafts yelling.
I
It's
come-
really true. If people don't know what we're talking about,
Yeah.
they push this entire whitewater rafting thing down, and all
we
the
talked about it yesterday.
Indians come up and they're just boo-ha.
Yeah.
They're all going like hoo ha like on the raft.
But I come to my apartment in New York. It is pin drop silent here. It's like crazy. Nice.
I remember
Okay.
Raghu and I saying the same thing in the back of a cab when we had gotten back from India and we're in like rush hour traffic in New York City. And we're like, wow, this is so peaceful and quiet, compared to like being in traffic in India.
Right. Nobody's honking.
I
Yeah.
think India's going to change. I think it's going to turn around.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Takeaways.
Takeaways.
The perks aren't all they're cracked up to be.
All right.
Perks. Yeah.
Material success doesn't satisfy. You need spiritual answers.
Okay.
Just like the perks, you go to this supermarket. It's hard to just go to the supermarket without them trying to, you just want to purchase your goods and they're trying to like sign you up for their rewards card. Like while you're just, come on. Don't let me sign up for this rewards card. I just really want to go out the door. So, but no, come on. You're gonna get some money back. You're gonna get on our rewards program, and then all of a sudden you sign up for this whole thing. Now you're getting an email from Price Chopper, 3 times a week. Thanks for that little 10 cents coupon I just got. The perks, Mara, are not always cracked up to not always
What they
what they're
What they're
cracked
cracked
up
up to be.
Yes,
All right.
the rewards programs.
Indulgence of the senses doesn't bring happiness.
Matter of fact, if I could isolate how many hours I've spent looking into frequent flyer rewards miles programs, I could probably buy another 3 weeks onto my life.
Okay.
Okay.
We
How
can
many
be
hours I spent on the Chase Points website? Oh God, give me that time back. Go ahead.
We can be bewildered in a moment, like Śaubharī Muni.
In a moment.
Oh yeah. I mean, yes. Lord Brahma can be. If you ever feel like, man, I'm in illusion, don't worry. Lord Brahma falls into illusion.
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva falls into illusion.
Just one of our wandering senses can drag us away.
Even your nose. Smells good. Oh,
I understand there's things I can't understand.
I like that. I like that. That just sort of came out today. But I'm going to say that more. And I think it's a good t-shirt. I understand. There are things I just can't understand.
Pivot from
the
the
next
idea.
question would be, Kaustubha, are you sure you understand that?
No, you could be mistaken about that.
Unmotivated divine love for God is the only thing that satisfies.
Are you sure? Can you understand that? We're hoping that
And-
that's true. We don't know that because I don't think we have pure love of God. But we're hoping that that's the ultimate, right?
Thanks for just casting
Doubt
shade
on everyone's
everything
heart.
that we do here.
Yeah.
No, we have firm conviction that it's true.
Well, we do.
Something growing
we have firm
within us.
conviction, but we don't know it.
It's something growing within us.
Do we know that?
You can know things without having experienced them, Rana.
Can you?
Yep.
That's faith, though. That's
And-
faith, though. It's not knowing.
Yeah, well, faith is at a certain point, you know something's true.
Without-
By saying it's faith, that doesn't mean anything. Oh, that's just faith. What isn't faith?
Knowing.
What
Knowing.
can
isn't
you know?
faith.
What can you know if you're going to put that kind of stand? Do I know that water's going to boil? At 212. Well, it did last time. Yeah, but do you know what's going to do next time? Well, that's your faith. I can throw that at anything. There's what do you do?
No.
All right, let's
I'm having a spiritual. I'm hitting a
Let's-
spiritual wall
Raghunath
right now.
had a spiritual crisis in the last moments of the takeaway.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
if Mick Jagger and Bono aren't satisfied, how are we going to be?
You see, you could just take it on their testimony.
I mean, think about it. They get whatever they want. Whatever they want. They go wherever they want.
This
They're
is
beautiful.
Mary, he
It's
goes
like Mick
like this
Jagger
when he
never
talks-
ages.
When there's the heavenly
Doesn't
planets, he starts to talk
age.
like this.
I'm aging
doing all
quicker than
kind of
Mick
stuff.
Jagger is. I'm aging. He can still. He's fit. He takes excessive amounts of drugs, and he looks great. I've never taken drugs. I'm aging quick, rapidly.
I think you're thinking of
and
Keith
forward.
Richards. I don't know if Mick has taken lots of drugs. I mean, he
Mick's
did.
probably taken drugs,
No,
Kaustubha.
I mean,
Come
over
on.
the course of time, he
I
did.
mean, you don't think Mick Jagger's drinking more hard liquor than me in my life?
I'm sure
Mick
he
Jagger
has.
has.
I'm sure he has.
He's probably done different drugs that I've never taken. Now he's probably done acid. I've never taken acid.
He's probably done acid. I think so. I think it would be safe to say.
Many hits.
At
of
one
acid.
point in his life, Mick Jagger.
Even Bono, who's okay. Here's Jim Carrey. I think everybody should get rich and famous to do everything they ever dreamed of, so they can see that it's not the answer. If Jim Carrey says that, and he's been a celebrity, so that Jim Carrey is a good example. See, a lot of those other guys are examples for people who want to be rock stars. Jim Carrey, for example. Jim Carrey, if you have a desire to be a famous comedian, some of you do out there, he got everything too. You don't get more famous than Jim Carrey or Mork from Mork. Mork from Mork is at the pinnacle of comic success. And he felt the same way.
I don't think his name was Mork.
His name is Mork. Insiders call him Mork. People don't even know what I'm talking about. Mara has never seen Mork from Mork, the young child.
That little
like
eye roll
lady.
there, Mara's like, I have seen Mork.
Mork from Mork at one time, Mara, you don't understand. It was the funniest TV show in the world. There was like nothing. It was like you'd go to that television set like, oh my God, get ready for another 30 minutes of pure
Super talented.
pleasure.